All right. Welcome back once again to the probably going to be the third segment of this episode. Just depends on how I break it up, honestly. We had a long NBA part. So this is going to be the third segment of this episode. It's going to be fantasy football, and it's going to be 2 games. And I want to get into playing a little bit more games and stuff like that just because it's fun and it's great for advertising and promoting, of course, on TikTok. People love having those arguments and debates and stuff, and it makes people talk. You know what I'm saying? And I love it. I love debating. That's why I like having other people on the show too. So fantasy football, what we're gonna do is a would you rather on fantasy football, and instead of doing like a would you rather where I name one player and then list off like 10 other players and you have to tell me which one on each one, I'm just gonna do one for one. Who would you rather have? And first one, Alvin Kamara and James Conner. Both have been have been disappointments in fantasy so
Absolutely.
far. Alvin Kamara has been injured a lot. James Conner was injured for 1 game and a half, I think. But both of them, even when they have played, it hasn't been great. So right now, if you're choosing one, if you have to choose one, sadly, out of those 2, which one are you going with right now and why?
I had time to think about it. Like earlier, I was thinking Connor, but I gotta get serious. Like, bro, it's Kamara for sure. Like, he's honestly, he's a proven back for sure. He's a better back. And then it's like, I know he's got to get touches in order for that Saints offense to even try to click. Like, let's get real here. Like, I mean, Jameis, we don't really know with him for sure. Like, as in, like, when he's coming back. When is he coming back?
I don't know.
But even then, like, he hasn't been for sure.
Bit.
He hasn't been, like, for sure answer from them guys. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think Kamara, he gets it going later on better in the season, around probably week 7 or something like that. I say that's when he starts kicking it in and starts getting back to himself.
I agree. And that's the reason why I have Kamara above Conner too, is because overall full season-wise, I think what we're seeing from Conner right now, because right now, I put it into the fantasy comparison thing, like, because I need y'all to understand, like, bro, James Conner has literally ruined 2 of my fantasy teams, and oh my god,
it's funny because like last season
I'm more
he
mad
was that
than
guy.
You can exist.
Last season he was that guy,
bro. What? Like at the end of the season, this man was dropping 20, 28 points, 30 points, like, but it was just the biggest thing that I said coming into the season. I was like, he is getting a lot of yards and stuff, but he's getting a whole lot of touchdowns at the end of that season. And that is what is ruining him now. He is so touchdown reliant. It is ridiculous. He might give you 10 points because he's going to get 4 or 5 catches and he'll get a point per catch. Mm-hmm. And then he'll get like his 10 to 15 touches a game. But in those 10 to 15 touches where most running backs get maybe 80, most good running backs get like 70 to 80 yards. This man is getting like 30. He's getting 30 and 40 yards. Yeah. That's not okay. You can't be on my team. You cannot be on my team. And sadly, he is on my freaking team in my league that I own, and I have to own up to it because my only other running back is Antonio Gibson and Cordell Patterson got hurt. So I had to come in here and I had to let it, bro. If we had done fantasy disappointments and surprises, James Conner was number 1 on the list. I cannot stand this man.
Yeah, he
averages right now. He is averaging 10.8 points in fantasy. Alvin Kamara is lower, but Alvin Kamara, in terms of his projected, is almost 6-7 points higher than what James Conner is doing, and there's a reason for that. Yeah. Because Alvin Kamara gets catches, he gets yards, and then he gets touchdowns.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
He's kind of
so it's not like he needs the touchdown. Exactly. He doesn't need the touchdown to be able to do well. Mm-hmm. So that one's obvious for me. Oh my God, sure. I cannot stand James Conner. To me, Kamara, most of his thing is injury. Like he's been hurt a lot. The Falcons played great defense against him in that first game. I give them that, and I think they just weren't prepared to play a type of game that the Falcons were playing in terms of play style at the time. Even though they ended up winning, but it's still right now. Kamara over Conner. It's not much else to say about that. I gave y'all my spill. Oh my God.
I would 100% agree on that.
So next one, DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, 2 backs on the same team. DeAndre Swift came out that first week and boomed. He dropped 30 points or something like that. He had something crazy.
24, I think.
Exactly. And then after that, Jamal Williams has gone what 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah.
that he has boomed versus and like what they mean by boomed is like on fantasy they have the boom or bust or whatever. Like if they get over this amount compared to their projection, they've boomed. Jamal Williams has boomed 3 times. DeAndre Swift has boomed once. But I want to know, who are you going with, knowing that DeAndre Swift is hurt right now, and there's a possibility that Jamal Williams doesn't continue what he's doing after DeAndre Swift comes back? Or I've heard you say that you think Jamal Williams do this anyway.
I mean, they love this guy in Detroit. Clearly, like, Dan Campbell hasn't, like, he clearly has some type of love for this kid, Jamal Williams, because he always has him in when it's time to score. This guy, he's I think he's leading the league as a non-kicker in points, like, scored this season, which is impressive. Like,
6 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think they love this guy in the red zone. So, I mean, I feel like you got to take Jamal Williams only with the fact of, like, DeAndre Swift being injured right now. Like, we've seen, even with Swift being there, that he can still be productive. So, it's like.
In that first week that DeAndre Swift booed, Jamal Williams still had 16 points, even though Swift had like 30.
That's crazy.
If Jamal Williams is a starting back on your team and he's giving you 16, I'm not mad.
That's crazy. I would have to go Williams though, because it just seems like, man, that offense, with Dan Campbell's guy, bro, he loves this guy in the red zone for sure. Right.
So this one was a super hard one for me. I'm trying to get up the comparison right here, but it's not working. We'll see. But it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna go Swift, man.
Swift gonna get the yards for sure.
Exactly. Swift is gonna be the guy that's gonna get all the yards. He's gonna get, in terms of passing the ball, he's gonna get more of the catches as well, I think. And then in a PPR league, every reception is a point, man. So like, it's so important that you get those running backs that are catching passes, because that will add up so fast. Like I tried to tell people a million times last year, Leonard Fournette, 70 catches. We talked about this. That's 70 points right there.
That's insane.
I won a money league mostly because of that. Like, I won't lie. That man is ridiculous. And same thing with guys like Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley. Like, they catch a lot of passes, which is what makes them great in terms of fantasy and in real life. They can do both. And I trust DeAndre Swift more with that. But I will say something about when Jamal Williams touches the ball, like, he just, like, it's like a big play waiting to happen. And it's so crazy because I remember when he was on the Packers and they were going back and forth, which one was going to be better, Aaron Jones or Jamal Williams? Yes, and they were arguing so much, and I kept telling one of my friends, I was like, Jamal Williams, I got Jamal Williams. Like, Aaron Jones is great, but Jamal Williams, in terms of what he can do running between the tackles, I like that a lot. And to me, he wasn't much slower. So I love Jamal Williams as a back, but I have to trust that when DeAndre Swift gets back, he's going to be the guy. The only thing that scares me is that DeAndre Swift has been hurt multiple times. So this season, I wouldn't mind having either one.
Absolutely.
Jamal Williams does look like a great
go wrong with anybody in that Lions offense right now.
Exactly. Oh my God, dude! The Lions put up numbers like it's nothing. They literally just run up and down the field right now, and which is crazy when you have Jared Goff quarterback. You would never predict that. And then their receivers are not great, other than Amon-Ra. Like I don't know how they move the way they do.
I don't know,
but yeah, right now I'm going DeAndre Swift, but it's mad close. I love Jamal Williams. I have him on one of my teams. Did me great last week. Picked him up on the slick.
For sure.
People weren't paying attention. So, second one. And these two players are the number 1 and number 2 tight end, and they've gone back and forth. Travis Kelce versus Mark Andrews. That is a tough one, and I'll let you choose first. That is tough.
I got to go Kels, and you want to know why?
Wow.
See, look, it is tough. Like, because Mark gets thrown to a lot, and Marcus, he's nice too. So it's like, but Travis is Trav. Like, I feel like you still would just gotta go with Kelce. I mean, Kelce tutties. Think about it. It's gonna happen. Like, gonna happen. And I mean, the yards that this guy gets, bro, he has Pat Mahomes throwing. Like, I say like you got to
Yeah.
also think about that. Like with Kelce, I mean with Andrews, you got to factor in Lamar. Like if Lamar's not on that day, or Lamar's really looking at other guys like Duvernay or Bateman, you know, we know what
Mm-hmm.
we know for a fact that Travis Kelce's getting the football. We know for a fact
Yeah.
Mark Andrews gonna get the football, but we don't know who if Lamar's gonna consistently be able to get it there. You know what I'm saying? Consistently
Mm-hmm.
throughout the game, especially with like, I mean, if they got somebody over the middle and then someone also helping, guard Mark, it's gonna be tough. But Travis Kelce, it does not matter. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
And
Patty's gonna get it to him.
I'm right there with you, bro. Like Kelce, man, it's like it's really hard because I have Mark Andrews on my money league, and he has definitely
Yes,
won me
he's
some
been
weeks.
balling.
This man has dropped. There was 2 weeks he dropped 20. The first week he dropped like 16 or something like that. And Kelce has been great too, but there was that 1 week that Mark Andrews dropped last week against the Bills, I think.
Yeah, he had a bad week. I'm guessing.
Yeah, they had a bad week against the Bills. They played good defense on them, and I don't know if we've. Like, I haven't really seen Kelce have a bad week in a long time. Like you said, he's going to get the ball.
Well, I think
like,
probably the last bad week he had was against Cincy, like last season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's not even a playoff game. I'm talking like week 12-ish to when that happened. Like, that was a while ago that I can think of that.
Right now, Kelce's averaging 17. Mark Andrews is averaging 16. So it's like real close.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go Kelce. Like you said, touchdowns, he gets a little bit more yards to me, first of all, and catches as well because he gets targeted more. He's really Pat Mahomes' safety blanket.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mark Andrews is Lamar's safety blanket as well. But being Pat Mahomes' safety blanket means a little bit more when you're Patrick Mahomes.
Well, I'd say a lot more only because, like, bro, it's Pat Mahomes, bro. And I love Lamar.
Exactly. Like,
he don't throw it like Pat Mahomes.
It definitely means that much more when you got Pat Mahomes throwing you crazy passes, getting yards off that. And then after the catch, Kelce is a monster after the catch.
Not close.
Mark Andrews is not doing what he's doing after the catch.
Not close at all,
exactly.
Bro. Travis Kelce honestly might be like one of the scarier tight ends that I've seen running since like Gronk, maybe. And it's not like he doesn't do it with as much power. He does it more so with elusiveness and just
he will actually juke you.
Yes. Like he will jump over you.
He is slippery, man. Like,
he will stiff arm you too. And like, don't get it twisted.
Mark Andrews is a strong guy, so like red zone looks good, but the fact that Kelce can get that long touchdown versus like throwing a little
Kelce's
2-yard touchdown.
Like that's what makes it crazy. Like you got a big play tight end. Like
exactly,
that's insane.
That's crazy. We have not seen a tight end like Kelce in a long time, other than like you said, Gronk,
Shannon Sharp, those guys. Yeah, like in terms of just being able to catch it, Tony.
Yeah, Tony Gonzalez. Yeah, for sure. So right now, I think we both got the same one on that, Kelce. This next one. It might be obvious again. It might be obvious again. In my opinion, it's obvious. Jamar Chase versus Mike Evans, fantasy-wise, this year. Exactly.
Mike.
Like, it's got to be Mike. It's got to be Mike. Right now, Jamar Chase has literally, like on the boomer bust thing, he's busted, like, I think 2 times out of 4 weeks. Like, and like, for Jamar Chase, the numbers aren't bad in terms of a fantasy receiver, but they are bad in terms of a fantasy receiver that everyone drafted in the first round. Exactly. Like this guy was supposed to average 17, 18 points per game. Yeah. He's getting 10, 11, 12. Like he's in that range right now. So I can't put him up there right now. Mike Evans, he had that game. He was suspended. He's been hurt a little bit, but he's different. Like you said, 15 points per game is what he's doing right now. I'm taking Mike Evans. And it's just the fact, like, and I chose these 2 receivers because they're in similar situations. Mike Evans has a lot of receivers around him that can also catch the ball. He's got Chris Godwin. He's got Julio. They went and got Russell Gage. And we know that Cole Beasley just retired out of nowhere. But
I give up.
I don't want to be here. Eric Gordon. But like, bro, not Eric Gordon. Oh,
not Eric Bledsoe.
Eric Bledsoe.
Said, man, I hate it here. Something like that. I don't want to be here.
I don't want to be here. But on the Bengals, they got T. Higgins. They got Tyler Boyd. And now they got Hayden Hurst, who's been catching passes now. So it's like,
which is insane to me. I was like, what?
Yes. And the way that they're covering Jamar Chase, it just seems like it's so hard for him to produce the way he was last year, honestly. Yeah. He's not been as effective. It's really been a lot of T. Higgins. You can argue that he's been, not even argue, he's actually been their number one receiver so far this season, fantasy-wise and in real life, number-wise. So right now, Mike Evans, Jamar Chase has the chance to pass that at the end of the year, but right now, Mike Evans,
I think to also add to that, Mike Evans has been playing like absolutely out of his mind this year. Like the Kansas City game, he showed out like he had a field day with those corners they had. I think what's his name, Watson. I think Tre'Davious Ward plays for the Niners now. But the corner, it was another rookie corner, but Mike Evans he's a TD magnet. Like you gotta think about it. That's Tom Brady's safety blanket right there. Speaking of safety blankets, like I mean, yeah, I say for right now you gotta take Mike until Jamarr like they figure out what's going on in Cincy.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna take Mike on that one. Where'd he go? Oh, I lost my notes page. My next one, Eagles versus Buffalo's defense. Two pretty good defenses. Buffalo is more of a stout defense. They're not going to let you get a lot of yards. They're not going to let you score a lot of points. Eagles defense, they're the same way. To me, they're a little bit more turnover prone. Yeah, they're more turnover prone to get picks and stuff like that. But the Bills defense is more prone to get sacks. So it's like you really they do different things that will both get you points. So I thought this was a pretty good one. Hard choice. I'll let you go first on that.
Not gonna lie. Any defense with Von Miller coming off the edge, I gotta go with them. Like, I mean, it's like they're gonna get Trey White soon. I think they're getting him soon if he hasn't come back yet. Then his defense is just bruh.
They're gonna have those turnovers.
They're gonna have those turnovers. And also the division they play in. You guys gotta like think about that. When it comes to defense too, I mean the NFC East is looking a lot better than the AFC East. Aside from Miami and aside from Miami, the AFC East is like kind of cupcake right now. But the NFC East, they're going against a lot of good offenses as well with the Vikings. Well, no, excuse me. The NFC East, they're going against
Cowboys, Giants.
Cowboys, Giants. These are guys. I mean, these are teams that have offenses that are moving pretty decent, But with Buffalo, man, they got so many guys that are Edmonds, he's a factor, Poyer. I know Micah Hyde's out for the year. But they still got a stout defense, man. Like these guys, they done been playing with each other for some years now too. And I had to go with Buffalo.
And this is one of the ones I'll disagree with you on. And there's like only a few reasons. Eagles defense, in my opinion, a little bit more consistent when you look through their weeks. Week 1, Eagles defense didn't do great. It was against the Lions, 5 points. Bills defense had 18. Yeah. Week 2, Bills defense had 22. So they had 18 and 22 back-to-back. Eagles defense had 13. That's pretty good if you have a starting fantasy defense that gets over 10 points. Like you're having a good day. Week 3, Bills defense, 6 points. That was against Miami.
That's a tough offense.
Eagles defense, 17 points. They were playing Washington. It was an easier team for them to play. Commander Carson, we know he's going to throw some picks. Then you go into week 4. Bills defense, 8 points. They played a tougher team. They played Lamar Jackson. But getting 8 points as a defense against a team like Lamar Jackson, I cannot be mad at that at all. Most teams would be in the negatives by the end of that game in terms of their defensive points.
For sure.
You won't be starting a defense against the Ravens unless they're a Bills type team. You'd be benching that team. So Eagles, they went out against Jacksonville, 17 points. It was a rainy game, so I think it was a little bit hindering it as well. But overall, I say that to say, you see, that's 3 weeks in a row that the Eagles had over 13 points. Right now, there's 2 weeks back-to-back. The Bills have had 6 and 8 points, and then their first 2 weeks were 22 and 18. They were playing the Titans, and then they played Matt Stafford, who looks like trash right now. So I have to give it to the Eagles based off the fact that and it's funny because it's kind of the offense's fault for the Bills. They like to get into too many shootouts.
Mm-hmm.
They love to let up points and let Josh Allen go out there and cook and just see if they can drop 40 on a team. Doesn't matter if the other team drops 35, we're putting up 50.
Mm-hmm.
So and the Eagles can do that, but we can also see how they win a game against the Jags where it's a low scoring
I think they
game.
prefer to play games where they rather win it defensively. And it's like more ground and pound. Like they're gonna try to win the game. They're not gonna try to go with a shootout. Their offense is, of course, it is dynamic, but it's not like a offense that you want to have a shootout with. You know?
Exactly. So right now, I'd say that I'm putting the Eagles over them barely, just because they're not going to let up as many points, because every time you let up points, you lose points on fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that saves the Bills is that they get sacks.
Yes.
They get sacks, and then when Tre'Davious White comes back, they're going to get interceptions. So even when they're letting up points, they still might end up giving you 10 points in fantasy wise and more. Eagles, it doesn't seem like they're doing either. Like I don't know if they're going to have a shootout.
Honestly, defensive, they are.
The only shootout they had was against the Lions, and the Lions have had a shootout with everybody this season. Exactly.
But the only thing I say about
I don't know what that means.
At the Eagles is the play. Who have they played offensively aside from the Lions? And
I agree with that.
Well, offensively, they went against one of the better teams in the Lions, and hey, that was a game they had to have a shootout with. So, I mean,
and I agree with that. Offensively, the next closest team you could say they played was Minnesota. Minnesota is not on the level of Miami and the Ravens offensively, in my opinion.
But they
have
close.
Jamarr Jefferson.
They're close. They're not. It's not a
Jamarr Jefferson.
Great. Yeah.
Justin Jefferson.
But yeah, like I'd say like it's a drop off, but it's not like a crazy drop off to say like that.
Oh,
so,
yeah. It's not too wild of a drop off, but it is
to say that like they're not getting challenged. Like they're clearly getting challenged out there. But
exactly. So I'm taking Eagles barely. We can skip one of them. I had George Kittle and Mike Gesicki on here.
Come on, man.
We don't have to do that one. I can skip that. Last one, Jalen Hurts versus Lamar. They've both been having MVP level seasons. Jalen Hurts might be looked at better because, of course, they're 4-0. Ravens are 2-2. Even though the two games they lost, they've trailed for only 14 seconds, which is so crazy. That's so tough for Lamar.
Yes.
But at Jalen Hurts versus Lamar, I'll let you go ahead. That's a tough one.
If you're asking me, doesn't matter. I take either one.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess if we're talking about for anybody else, I'd say you take Lamar Jackson only off the it's Lamar Jackson. He's proven. Jalen Hurts, we can see him having this great start right now, but then his issues are accuracy. So I mean, we can see him start being a bit more inaccurate later in the season when defenses are more adjusted to sticking with the run and forcing them to throw it consistently. We'll have to see about that. But I mean, I think Jalen's still gonna have a great season either way, But it's Lamar Jackson. He's gonna have to score.
Yep. And I agree with that. Jalen Hurts, I'll say this. He does have accuracy problems.
Mm-hmm.
Is he as prone to throw a pick as Lamar? I don't think so, because Jalen Hurts
he's a bit more safe.
Exactly. He's going to play a lot safer. If he sees that it's not there, he's not going to try to fit it in or make a great play, which Lamar can absolutely do. And Jalen Hurts is going to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree. I'm going to have to take Lamar just based off of how he plays and the things that he's able to do. Right now, Jalen Hurts it's almost unquestionable that he is the better quarterback. Yes. But like you said, down the line, I trust Lamar more in terms of what I've seen him do year after year after year. Jalen Hurts, this is his first year doing this. He's done it great for four games. I would like to see it through 4 more games when they start to play a little bit harder competition, get into those divisional games. So right now, Lamar over Jalen Hurts.